Women's Empowerment, Women Leading. This is a podcast for women by women, asking the question, are women leading? Join me for the conversation at Tari, proudly brought to you by Gender and Media Connect, a place where we talk about women's issues and you have your voice and say. Good morning and welcome to another episode of the podcast, Are Women Leading? My name is Tari and this conversation is proudly brought to you by Gender and Media Connect, Research and Advocacy Unit, the Swedish Embassy in Harare, as well as Women's Coalition. And this morning, I'm joined in studio by Pastor Barnabus Wamnyima, and we're looking at resistance to female leadership. You can always have your say by following us on our handles at Tari at Gender and Media Connect. Pastor B, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Tari. It's good to be here.
Good to have you in studio. I've been looking forward to us having this conversation. Resistance to female leadership from a men's point of view. We've had many conversations with women and women of the opinion, there are so many factors. So I thought it would be good to have a man telling me, is it true that there is resistance to female leadership? And I would like us to start in the home space, how we are groomed. When I was growing up, I'd spend time with my cousins, some of them male and female, and I realized that there was a little bit of a difference in how we were treated. We would wake up, Makseni, 5 a.m., okay, chairai, sukai, and all of this. But for the boys, it was like, no, he's got things to do. And I always wondered, what things to do? And me being groomed to be a homemaker, is that me being trained to lead? I always wondered, and I haven't yet found the answer to that one.
Well, it's really quite an interesting topic. And as we look into it, you start by saying male's resistance to female. And when you really look into that, it sounds as if these are two different people groups who are coming from two different continents. Maybe one is coming from Mars and the other one is coming from Earth. And they are meeting for the first time. And then you appear in this room, I appear like, who is this one? Oh, she's a leader. Where is she from? So it's like you are coming really to disturb my space. And yet, if you are to look at it, we are to coexist. We are supposed to be interdependent. We can't live without the other. If you are to take it to the good book, which is the Bible, it says he created them male and female. He created them male and female. Why did he create them male and female? Because they need it. The equation has to be so. It's incomplete without the other. All right. And unfortunately, when we come into the home space, you find that one of the challenges that we have in the way we raise our children is based on culture. All right. And this culture also, the way we look at it, let me put it this way. Culture is supposed to be a way of living in the given time space that you are in. But unfortunately, we tend to be static in terms of our thinking when it comes to culture, so much that a principle which was applicable maybe in 1902, we still want it to fit
in
2021. And that's where now the drama starts. Okay.
So now we've got a group of people who are living in 2021. Culture is dynamic. Things are changing. But we're still subscribing to the philosophy, 1902, right? But, whilst we may have a group of people who are more progressive than the other, it's not like this group exists in its own space. This one exists in its own space. We are coming from different places. And now we are together in the home.
Now, we are in the home, right? And as we bring it to leadership, have you realized that women have really done quite significant in terms of transformation, in terms of progression? Because yesterday we were told that women are supposed to be in the house. It's for cooking, it's for sweeping. But today you can be in the office and you can still come back home and do the cooking. But it looks like the men are the ones that are stuck in that which they used to be, and they use it as an excuse to resist even an added advantage or an added blessing, because now you can actually, help not just in the house, but even in the workspace.
But why this resistance? And I'm glad that you're the one who brought it up, not me, the female, that for men, not much has changed in terms of progressiveness. But for a lot of women, they're getting more education and they're going out there and grabbing these opportunities. So why then do we have perhaps a group of men who say, no, I don't want my wife to go to work. I do not want my wife to lead in the political space. I remember on radio once, this guy called in and said, you know what? I'm okay with female leadership, like a female president. I just don't want my wife to be a president. And I said, really, why? And his logic was that she will not have time for me.
Okay. I think the challenge which we have is that we are losing the essence of relationship. Okay, the real meaning of relationship. If you are to look at the 7 streams of revenue, number 1 is wisdom. Money is number 7. And what takes us to work is money. Right.
Yeah.
Now, number 2 is vision. Number 3 is information and knowledge. And number 4 is relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we are no wisdom, vision, knowledge, and relationship. So we are losing all that. And we're now focusing on money. So as long as I've got the money, I'm supposed to be the provider. So stay here. I give you the money. And you're now resisting to that. So I think this resistance is kind of subliminal in our subconscious, in the way we've been brought up, which has to do with our cultural connection. And I think it's also a resistance to based on poverty mindset.
I love talking about the poverty mindset because I think it affects us in different spaces. I saw some meme, I suppose, that was written and circulating on social media, talking about all these very successful men and their wives. So it was Ningi's wife works. And they do something. They've got some projects going on. But you, my dear girl, your man probably has $2 in his pocket and you're saying, I'm not going to go to work. What kind of thinking is that? Is this not a poverty mindset where some women will say, I just want to be taken care of. I've spoken to some women who are like that. I just don't want to go to work. I need him to work for me. So it's not just resistance coming from the men, but also us women saying, you know what, I just want to chill. And not to say that there's anything that's wrong with that.
I think also another challenge now in line with that is, you see, we are defining success by the amount of money in our pocket.
Okay.
Not the amount of life or the amount of personality that is in our hearts. So, like I said, we've got a lot of people with a lot of money in their pockets, but they're failing at a relational level. They are failing to take care of their children. So, no wisdom, no vision about tomorrow. The job that you're actually talking about is temporal. Tomorrow you lose the job. Tomorrow you are fired. The money is no longer there. That's when you realize that there's no relationship in the house. So we are failing to invest into relationships. As a result, that leadership that we're talking about, the question is, who are we leading?
Yeah, our families.
Well, if you and I are fighting at a family level as husband and wife and 2 children, you are running an organization of 2,000 people. Then, you are called a leader because you have a team strategy. You can bring your people together, 2,000, they are working. You come home, there's no strategy at all for 4 people. What leadership are we talking about?
But okay, so perhaps in the corporate space, you've got other people, team members that you're working with, and you sit down and you say, this is what we want to do. Exactly. This is where we're going. But then when you look at in the house, sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And you come to, and I'm using examples that I've gotten from other women here. You come with your idea. There's a woman on radio who used to text me even years, and she would say, I wanted to, she got pregnant when she was young and she was supposed to proceed to university. She didn't go. The husband said, you know what, I'll marry you and then I'll pay for the fees. He never did. Many, many years later, she kept going to him. I want to go back to school. I want to, pursue my studies and discover myself. And he had resistance to that because, and his logic was, ukaenda kuchikoro, uchano nyengwa, uchano wana vanhu vanopenya ikoko, and you're going to leave me. But this is a dream that she has, and he is her partner who is supposed to support her. But his reasons, just like the man who says, I don't want my wife to be president, it's all selfish. It's all about me because then I'm sorry. What about me?
There's an aspect of insecurity there.
Yeah.
Low self-esteem and lack of self-awareness. And also ignorant of who you are in my life. Because you see, we need to this is one of the reasons why indirectly or unknowingly so, we are resisting even to things that are supposed to prosper us. We are resisting things that are supposed to make us successful.
You talk, okay. You talk about insecurity in men. And I want to tie it to our cultural aspect, how we are raised. And these young boys, especially if he's named after his dad, you can't do chakati. Dibaba, you need to respect him. And Baba makes the decisions here. I've never really seen a young girl achinzi ndio vanotaura zvokuti panapa zvinofamba sei. It's like your job is to listen and sit down and pay attention. So as we're growing up, how do the men who have been groomed to be leaders essentially then become insecure and intimidated by a person who just wants to be herself and live her dreams?
I'm glad you are using the word grooming, of which I don't think it was really grooming.
Okay.
Because remember, all I was being told was, you are a man. You don't do that. You don't do that. Leave the plates. Is that grooming? Okay, you are the man. She's supposed to listen. She's supposed to do the cooking. Is that grooming? Yes, it might be, but in the negative sense.
Okay.
Because when I now come into that space, I've been told I'm the man here. The moment you just come in and say, Barnabas, may I? Or actually, I was thinking of. Then I'm like, hey, did you consult me?
Oh, yeah.
It's what I'm saying.
Consult is big.
Now, the example which you were giving of a woman who comes to the husband and said, look, I want to further my studies. Listen to his reasoning. If you go in there, you're going to shine. It's like you're going to improve and you're going to be, some men are going to come out of you. After you.
Yeah.
What am I scared of?
You're the man. You tell me.
Yeah. So if I really know my role in your life, you are my wife. I've done the best that I'm supposed to do. When you are on the platform, guess what? You are my image.
Yeah. And yet there's, this resistance to female leadership in all spaces. So culturally, in our political space and our religious space, which are places that we'll also need to talk about. So still in the home space and the cultural space, what do you suppose needs to be done in order for men to be less resistant to female leadership? Because I've seen this. Pakada kusumuka tete maita wanda kuti vataura unonzi munotudze imbonyararai vana baba ndo vanoziva.
What's supposed to be done? First and foremost, there's no formula.
Okay.
What we need to realize and understand is that we are both human beings who are relational and who cannot live without the other. All right. Female, male, right?
Yeah.
Remove the fee, the FE. You've got a male and a male. All right.
Yeah.
So there's something in you that connects to me and there's something in me that connects to you. The only difference is that FE. If you come to woman, it's a MAN. There's a man in you, there's a man in me. The only difference is that WO. All right? And then, therefore, you realize that there's no productivity, there's no conception, there's no birthing or even reproduction without this woman. Okay?
Yeah.
So in essence, you then have to realize that we need each other, all right, for us to have a better life and enjoy life. We enjoy each other.
I will say I agree. I will not disagree with that. I agree with it. We need each other. Insecurity, right, in the men. And in this relationship, I think we owe each other something. And if you realize that your partner is insecure, you go to him, you say, hey, I want to run for president. And it's like, what? So what is that going to mean for me? What do you suppose perhaps the woman who wants to lead can do to reassure this man? Should she reassure him in order to, lessen his insecurities? Is it even her job to do that? Because if you start now addressing these insecurities, I'm just running for president. It's no big deal, even though it is a big deal. I mean, for how long shall we continue to do that? And is it her issue to address, or it's his?
So the Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go. When they are grown, they will not depart. That's deep.
Yeah.
Because if I was trained to have a negative, and I'm using the word negative mindset per se towards a woman, when you then come in as a wife, the first thing that you need to do is to have an understanding of the kind of a woman, a man that you are marrying.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask this question. Have you drank Coca-Cola before?
Yes, I have.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. The cameraman, have you drank Coca-Cola before?
Yeah. I'm sure he has.
Sure?
Yeah.
Did you realize that you have never drank Coca-Cola before? And you never?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What have we had?
Coke.
Okay.
Coca-Cola is the company.
Okay, so no, we have not had the company, we've had the brand.
Okay.
Okay, the product.
So the product is Coke.
Yeah.
So what I mean is when you look at me, what you are seeing, this is but a container, which is carrying some content. That Coke, no one knows the formula until tomorrow, other than the ones that came up with it. So the product that is in me, guess what? There's somebody who had the recipe on how I was raised. So for you to then convince me that you want to go into the public space, there has to be serious transformation in terms of my mind and then also the society that we are in. Because it looks like and sounds like we've created a hostile society that we are scared of as far as releasing our spouses are concerned, as far as releasing our children is concerned. So every time we are speaking to our children, as you are going out, we are literally giving them all the negative, watch out for this, watch out for this, watch out for this, watch out for this. Then you come in and like, you know what? I'm running for presidency. When you go on the stage, I'm not looking at you like, wow, that's my wife, go for it. It's like I'm looking around and say, who is looking at her?
Okay.
Who was shaking her hand? You know.
Yeah.
So that has to do with the product, the content that is in me. And if there's an inner transformation, that will then give me the confidence that whatever you do, if you are to do anything on that stage that is kind of negative as far as our relationship is concerned, then that was your own making, not me.
I've always wondered about your female leadership and the resistance. Men are birthed by women, mostly raised by women.
Yeah.
The way they view their mothers, the way they view their daughters or their sisters, very different sometimes from how they view their wives. So if the daughter is to come and say, Dad, I want to run for president, it's like, yeah, she's my daughter, she can do it. Then if your mother is the president, it's like, yeah, my mom is president. If my sister, go, I am proud. But my wife, we've got a bit of a problem there.
The interesting thing about the mind, my wife can carry a baby for 9 months, and I've got the confidence that after 9 months, that baby will be mine. And she brings the baby and says, this is your baby. Oh, from today, this is Limpo Wamnyima.
Yeah.
And we're excited. And for the rest of our life, she's answering to my name. It's quite interesting that I can trust you with that. You can carry that seed for 9 months and then I'm a father, right? But somewhat I can't trust you with that leadership responsibility that, you know what, you can still give birth to a big company and I'll still be the father.
Yeah.
I'll still be your husband. I'll still be confident to say, this is my baby. All right. Because remember, there's no conception without intimacy. And there's no birthing without conception. So whatever you are birthing, if you are my wife, there must have been some mental intimacy, some emotional intimacy, some academic or financial intimacy, as it were.
Yeah.
But somehow we seem to lose it in that space. And hence, we fight and destroy what is actually supposed to make us better.
That's sad and profound at the same time. So let's talk about the political space. And it's still using this example of a woman who wants to become president.
Yeah.
We have many women in this country who have decided, I want to run for political office. And what we have seen is violence in the political space. We've had, I always like to refer to the example, Dr. Thokozani Kupe being smacked across the face.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, but would you walk up to the male president and do things like that?
Yeah.
Why is it that a man would feel it's okay to go and smack her? Even when you look, so it's not just about the smacking, but it's also about calling names.
Yeah.
She's a prostitute. Her marital status matters. And until or unless she is Mrs. Ningi Ningi. And how did she get there? She probably got there because she was sleeping with somebody.
Yeah.
So are we really ready to have women leading us as a society when we treat women that way? I mean, there was an analysis, a research that was done to call the women names. And it's profound how much violence exists, just in this political space.
Maybe the other side to that question really is, are we ready to lead each other?
Okay. All right. Are we ready to lead each other?
Because if I'm not ready to be led by you, you are a human being. You may have the potential too. I do not. But the fact that you are female, then that makes me resist. Well, I become a president, you are not. But do I have the means to?
Yeah.
Do I have the capacity to? So you may have, but based on that, I look down on you. Now, if I'm to be a leader, remember, when you wanted to come up as a leader, simply because you are a woman, I called you names. What will stop me calling you names when I'm now a leader and you are not?
Nothing. Because you're still of the same mindset.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we really need to look into. This is the conversation that we need to have, in that your becoming a president has nothing to do with who I am, but to do with what we are as a nation. This is for the sake of our nation. It's just like in our homes. If you come, you're the one who has the capacity to make $20,000 and we needed a car and have $2. We put it together as $20,002. We bought the car. It's our car. Okay. So we're now looking at the family. We are looking at the next generation. All right. The example which I always give is, stemming from the family part of it. You could be oxygen, I'm hydrogen. When we come together, we create water. The language changes.
But yet, and I understand that, and this is the ideal space of where we would like to go. And yet, where we are, and I love that you brought it up, Buti, when this man becomes a leader, he's still going to be calling this woman names in the private space, or, sometimes public space is regulated, but in the private spaces, they'll still be saying things like that. And I wonder, when we're talking about future generations, are we cognizant that our actions also affect them? What example are we setting then?
So what example are we setting then? That example which you gave of a man walking and slapping the other woman, and we are watching on TV, and I'm hearing supposedly a national leader using an H word or F word, whatever, and is that supposed to be a leader? Now, you see, the challenge is when that is being said, because of how our minds have been programmed, we may not hear the insult, but we are saying, oh yeah, he's supposed to say it because he's a woman. So what we are seeing is gender and not hearing the words. And at the end of the day, we don't pay attention to the damage those words have to the next generation. Right.
And not even just to the next generation, but to the woman, it dampens your self-esteem. I mean, you're supposed to be a leader, and this authority is coming with the office. And you respect the office, but you can't even do that. So you've got this Tom from down the street, feeling that he can have access. So it's one thing for people to call women who want to lead names, but in these spaces, in the workplace, again, you've got men who will I suppose, initiate sexual harassment. And you can only, so this woman is qualified, really, and she must get this position, but you can only progress if you sleep with me, if you agree to do A, B, C, and D. Otherwise, this is not going to work.
So, unfortunately, that is happening. And as we really look into that, now, did you realize that also because of the societal environment that we are in, even women, unconsciously, the moment they begin to climb the ladder of leadership, there is this thing that begins to like, now you see.
Well, because history has it that so now I'm here and you need to feel it.
This fight, you find that it's coming from both sides, where there's also a level of insecurity even in the woman herself.
Can I explain it this way? I don't necessarily think it's a level of insecurity, but it's because she knows what the territory is like. She's going to be dealing with men. She's going to be leading men. She's going to be leading men who are older than her. And these people are supposed to take instructions and not to question.
So unconsciously, what happens is, I want you to know that even a woman can do it.
But is that wrong? Is it a bad thing to make the people understand that I am here and I need you to do this? I was reading up on the new president of Tanzania, and she says, don't call me mama. I am the president. You see, because she's a woman now. Oh, mommy. No, she's not. She is not your mother. She is the president. So this familiarity thing going on, you don't find that with male leaders.
No, that's what I'm saying. See, so the challenge now is, okay, let me put it this way. If you ask someone to say, why do you want to be rich? And then they say, because I don't want to be poor. So the motivation is not becoming rich. The motivation is I don't want to be poor. So I want to show them that I will never be poor. So you are coming in not to lead as much as that is what you're supposed to do, but your mind is also telling them they must know. So in essence, your focus now is
you must feel that
I'm here. All right. Then that inferiority complex that I was talking about, you find that men also, on the other hand, this is the power of the mind, begin to use it, say, Tari, for me to promote you, you have to sleep with me.
Yeah.
Now, if you were educated enough and you really knew who you were, you're not going to fall for it. But remember, you already left home and you told your husband that you want to show him that you can climb the ladder. So the mind is already prepared that I have to show him that I'm. Then here is a Barnabus who says, if you sleep with me, tomorrow you're the managing director. The mind says, look, an opportunity. Now it's no longer about sleeping. It's about proving to that man at home that I'm the leader. Before you know it, we're sleeping together. You go home, say, I'm the managing director. You thought I could not do it. So at that particular time, you are forgetting that it's about sleeping, but it's about proving.
Okay, so, all right, that's one way of looking at it. You need to sleep with me in order for you to become a leader. He would rather sometimes promote someone who is not, who's not equally talented in this position because you have resisted. What makes men have this mindset, I think, dominance over women? Doesn't matter how educated you are. I'm the one who's in power, so I'm going to dictate that pace. If truly he was interested in the growth of the organization, then he would simply promote this woman. But it's more than that, isn't it? Power dynamics. So you got there because of me.
Why are you assenting to it? Why are you accepting?
I think it's because of a lot of different reasons. You spoke about poverty, right? I don't want to be poor. And number two, I need to provide. Number three, maybe sometimes it's just this one time. And then I get what I want. So many reasons. I wouldn't want to just give one blanket reason because I really don't know. So you see that
you've got so many reasons. I also have so many reasons. So it takes two to tango.
Of course.
So I'm using whatever those reasons are to go after you, and you're using whatever reasons they are to accept.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you find that this is the greatest challenge that we're having, that maybe we need to go back into our education system. We need to go back into our family systems. and be able to raise men that these are fathers that will be able to stand in front of their daughter and affirm the daughter for who she is, all right, and for whatever she's capable of becoming. And sometimes they can even identify those leadership roles right at home. At the same time, we've got men and mothers that are affirming their sons.
Yeah.
You know that as you go into society, first and foremost, you're not marrying your wife or your husband for the position they have, but for the person they are. All right? And for what you are capable of doing when you come together.
Yeah.
Because two are better
than one.
So there's this union that we need to look at. All right? Then when we go into our workspaces, you see, we've got our values. Unfortunately, most values are just on the wall.
Yeah, they're not things that we enact to live every day.
We talk about integrity. We talk about morality as it were. But here we are, I'm saying, for me to promote you, this is and you fought to that. So there's a lot of work really to be done. And also it takes us back, like I said, to the home, because how we relate in our homes has an effect on productivity at work.
You know, I've had conversations with female musicians, and quite a number of them have bemoaned sexual harassment.
Yeah.
You know, you are talented, but in order for you to be given the space in which you can record, you don't have money, right? You only have your voice and your talent going on. And then you're told talent is not enough.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do some things for the producer, sometimes with the whole team, in order for you to make it. So the call there was, you know, if there can be some program that can be done in order to give female musicians perhaps instruments in their own studio where there isn't any male influence, maybe that's something that can be done. But I realize that this dominance is happening all across. Let's talk about religion.
Yeah.
Anglican is so far one of the churches that I know that allows for female deacons and priestesses, I think they're called. Yeah. But when we look at the other churches, Pentecostal and such, we hardly see, for me, I haven't really seen a lot of female religious leaders. I can count them. And yet when you are driving along the streets of Harare, you see posters and billboards of Pastor Ningi and his wife. So the woman is there to play the support role. And I wonder, does that mean that this woman can't start her own church? What is that about? So many things. You're the pastor.
Of course, she can. This is my stance. Now, you see, sometimes when we read the Bible, again, we read it with a cultural mindset. You see, there are portions in the scripture where Paul would address a particular group, you know, even when it comes to gender and stuff like that. And some people can actually use that to build up a doctrine that hinders the other gender to be who God created them to be. You know, because I'm having a problem with you preaching in church, and yet the first church is at home. You are speaking to the church at home every day. You are preaching to us. You are preaching to your children. You are training your children. So what's the difference with these 2 hours? In fact, at home, you are there 24 hours. You are preaching, and you know, you're raising, you're training. And yet in church, it's just 30 minutes sermon. So it's this mindset, I think, that really needs to be dealt with, because we've hindered a lot of our own potential. We've hindered a lot of our skills and our talents, you know, in the name of culture, in the name of doctrine, in the name of religion.
Yeah, because as we talk about women leading in the church, we've got the Bible, and I think there's a part that says, you know, women can't lead. And what I've come to realize is that a lot of people like to pick a verse and run with that one, you know, and essentially just forget everything else. So it's not just about the man in the home saying, I don't want my wife to lead the church, but it's also about the Bible itself saying that. And then you've got the congregants who've got issues. Oh, she's a woman. How can she possibly lead us? What does she know? But are we not reading the same Bible? I mean, can we not interpret it differently? But we're both able to read.
You know, the issue of what does she know it's just like the aspect of men do not cook, isn't it? Men do not.
Yeah.
But the question is, don't they know how to?
Of course they do.
But why don't they cook?
Culture. Sometimes they just don't want to.
But it's at home where they don't, isn't it? Who is cooking at Miko's hotel?
Yeah. A lot of male chefs, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
But when it comes to the house, do you see where the challenge is? It's a different
space.
Yeah. So this is where the challenge really is, in that I think the problem is we read the Bible not to liberate, but sometimes to put people in bondage. We also read the Bible sometimes not to empower, but to be self-empowered.
I love that you talk about, we read the Bible to put people in bondage. And there are several religious sects across Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity, the privilege to interact with some of these people. And vamwe vacho havabvumidzwi kushandisa contraception. So now this woman has a bunch of kids, one after the other. Her body has not recovered. Sometimes she suffers from medical conditions. She doesn't have the support. Sometimes she's even told, you can't go to the doctor because, we've got our own people here who will probably pray for you.
Sure.
And then you're going to be well. When we talk about resistance to female leadership, is that not part of it? When we quote the scriptures and you say, oh no, you can't use contraception because it's bad for you. You can't have, you can't do ABC because, the church does not allow it. You can't wear certain items because the church does not allow it. I'm a big fan of autonomy. You get to decide what works for you. But then we've got the church, religion, which plays a huge part and influential in our lives, that seems to resist this, and it puts you in a box.
When Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, God blessed them. You are the suitable helper, and they're living together. They both naked and they were not ashamed of each other. Then they eat the fruit and the separation, right? Remember, when God blessed, he blessed them. And then after the fall, they were separated. When God was now cursing, he cursed the ground for the sake of the man and then the woman. Now, the curses were on individuals. They were no longer corporate. The blessing was he blessed them. But he says, man, you are going to sweat. Woman, increased pain. Then when it came to the serpent, he says, serpent, you crawl on the floor, eat dust, isn't it? Yeah. And he says, there will be enmity between you and the woman, and the seed of the woman shall crush your head. Enmity was pronounced between the woman and the serpent. And the serpent here, representation of the devil. And we know the devil was the Lucifer, who was the angel of worship, and he was in charge of culture. So when he was then thrown out, remember, when the pronunciation of the curses were being done, the serpent was also listening, isn't it? And he heard what was said. The other word actually that was said over the woman was, your desire will be for the man, and he shall rule over you. That was not a blessing, it was a curse. And the enemy heard that and created a culture out of that. Okay. Now, it's like, because there's that part which says, I will rule over you. Dominance first and foremost was not on a human being. All right. Now it looks like the woman is now on the receiving end of whatever has to be done. No contraceptives, but I can do without. And then what we need? Children. You have 20 children, I can't even father them.
Yeah.
Now you are left by yourself. So we now have a society that is resisting even that leadership, but without really giving leadership at home, without fathering that which we gave birth to. As a result, not only do we have street kids, we've a lot of what I may call home kids.
That is true. I've never really thought about it that way, but I've had a conversation, many conversations with my son, and I said, you know what, I need to have these conversations with you because I'm your mom and I'm not expecting somebody else to come and talk to you about this. But you need to be sexually responsible. You can't have kids that you can't take care of. Exactly. Otherwise, you're just going to be on the streets. Yeah. But as you refer to them, there are a lot of single mothers are there. They've got these home kids, with the man not even paying attention or taking care of them, and even married women. Yeah. But you talk about, I shall rule over you. I've had, again, conversations with other women who have said, Anenda onoshanda, and Mariaki, Anita surrender to the man. In fact, he demands it that you are going to give me this money and I am the one who's going to determine exactly how it's going to be spent in this house.
That could be another topic for another day, but it's interesting that we give titles to people that are not. All right. The fact that I've produced a child does not necessarily mean that I'm a father. All right. There's a difference between a man and a husband and a father. These are progressions. These are stages of life. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of single men who have gone into an institution called marriage.
Yeah.
They are producing children with a single mindset. Okay. Hence, they refuse to be a husband, they refuse to be a father, and they refuse to take responsibility of leadership. So when you now rise up as a woman, say, okay, look, my children must move on, things must happen, then resistance comes in. One of the reasons why we resist, it's because there's lack of productivity, I should say, lack of resourcefulness. But you know what? If I'm moving, you are moving. We are all moving. The only resistance comes in when you are moving and I'm not. So I hold you, I pull down, I pull you. The crab, they talk about the crab syndrome. If you put crabs in one container, try to climb up, it pulls you down. It pulls you down.
Perhaps on another day, we'll need to have a discussion on how women can identify men with the crab syndrome. Because they're there. Because I don't think, I certainly wasn't told about this. Dating was whatever. So find someone who can take care of you, but you forget that there's this person who wants to pull you down. So whilst you may be able to buy bread, but is bread all that there is?
So as we'll be concluding our discussion, Tari, what really bothers me is men thing. Because it makes me feel like we are two different people groups, like I said, who are coming from two different planets. And therefore, you are invading my space. I was telling I was at a wedding, 2 weeks ago, and I gave an example. I said that my brother was marrying, and I was given to give opportunity to give the speech. And I said, please, never ever will you open your mouth and call your wife stupid, foolish. But if she's stupid and she's foolish, who went to pay Lobola for what was foolish?
Yeah.
You see, now we have children, and every day I'm telling my children, say, my son, be careful. Women don't think. Women are foolish. Be careful. Women are this. And my son is growing up. Oh, so women don't think, women are foolish. That's the language that we don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
This boy is 30 years old tomorrow. He's in South Africa, finishes his PhD, calls me, honors. Wow, that's my son. Dad, I'm ready to get married. Looks at all the beautiful women. He remembers his father's words. Women don't think, women are foolish. Say, oh, wait a minute. So since they don't think, let me look for what thinks.
And we'll end it there. Pastor, thank you very much. Thank you very much for us having this conversation
Pleasure
on
is
resistance
mine.
to female leadership.
Excellent.
Thank you. So that was our conversation this morning on resistance to female leadership. Remember to follow us at Tari at Gender and Media Connect. Until next time, thank you.